The angry black woman? I am an angry disabled white woman who is good friends with an angry black woman, who works with an angry brown man, who is married to an angry Russian-born woman, whose adopted 20-year-old son is an angry Asian man, who's dating an angry tattooed white woman, whose best friend is an angry naturalized Mexican-born woman, whose wife is an angry Native American woman. They have a brown-skinned angry daughter who's only 17 and can't vote, whose best friend is an angry 18-year-old white man. And we're all different, and we're all mixed, and we're all beautiful, because we're all Americans, and that's what Americans are. By the way, Kamala Harris is American, and she's just another beautiful example of what Americans are. And right now, we're angry. And right now, we're ready to join hands and fight together. Finally. Hi, it's Nani, and welcome to the Chronicles of Nani. I hope that you didn't find the intro verse to today's program to be political. And here's the reason why. It's actually a verse that I wrote about various proud Americans and Americans who want to be even prouder or proud again about their country. If there was anything said in that verse or a name mentioned in that verse that made you feel like it was political in nature, then perhaps you're part of what makes everybody angry. Just something to think about. Today's topic and what we're going to study today is different things that you can do to creatively express yourself. Now, that can be something that you creatively express yourself because of your chronic illness. There are definitely some things that I've written and art journals that I have done specifying my frustrations with MS. Also specifying optimism and saying that even though these things are going on, I am going to survive. Today, I'm going to share some of the creative things that I've done and tell you a little bit about how they were done, why they were done. I can actually, the art journal form is something that I only started doing a few years ago. And it's wonderful because it's a way to express something that's bothering you. And I've found that when I do it, I can be just totally frazzled, in tears, and I don't know what to do. And I start creating a page. And I know I'm done with the page when the stress and the tightness in my shoulders is gone. That tells me it's time to sign it and you're done with the page. And most of the time, pages are pretty good or interesting. And we'll go into that now. I'll show you one of the pages. You'll see in this one that the person in the wheelchair is exhausted in tears and trying to stay away from the praise. I had so many people. I mean, I was doing self-help group for a while, so I had groups of people, and I could use my power wheelchair to move furniture and have everything set up. And I did get the strong, positive, brave, you have such incredible courage. You're a testament to how wonderful you can still be. And as the comment says at the bottom, sometimes I just wish I could take a break from being strong. Um, because the face that I show is this happy and the strong, the optimistic face. The reality is, sometimes it does just get to me, and I don't want to be strong. I don't want to be an example that everybody says is, this fantastic, you can do anything. Sometimes I do just want to be depressed, or I want to be sad. There actually are nights that I lie back in my recliner and turn on, I've got a playlist of sad music, and turn on the sad music playlist and go ahead and have a pity party. Just lay back and cry. Because nobody can be strong all the time. And that's what that art journal page was about. It was about just one day where I was struggling and everyone was still telling me how incredibly strong I am. And I felt so weak, and I really wanted somebody to just hug me and tell me it was okay. But nobody knew that there was anything wrong. The next art journal, called Dance, is one that I did after meditation. I was meditating just to relax, and I listened to the song Hero by Family of the Year. When I was a child, I was a ballet dancer. I took ballet for 4 years, well, 4.5 years, except that when we moved and I was with a new dance studio, I didn't care for the dance studio. Still spent the rest of my life, until I could no longer walk anymore, doing my ballet exercises. And I danced. No one stopped me from dancing. And I danced even if I wasn't getting ready for a recital. I danced. I never wore toe shoes. I never danced with toe shoes. But when I was meditating, I saw the vision of me sitting on a beach by a bonfire. And I walked away from the bonfire. I'm on the beach alone, by the way. So the ballerinas you see in the background are just me in different poses. And yes, the wonderful thing in meditation is I can always walk. In fact, in this one, I could dance. But you see me, or the representation of me, in the longer ballet skirt, which when I danced and took dance lessons as a child, the longer skirt meant that you were a prima donna. That if you were wearing a longer skirt instead of a tutu, it meant you were a better dancer. And I did enjoy wearing a longer skirt than everybody else on stage for the recital act one time, and that's a time that I remember very dearly. So the ballerina is there. Also notable, the single seagull flying in the night sky, representation of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which is basically No matter what everybody in the flock says, do what's right for you. The word art that I wrote is the choice will always be alive in your heart and mind. And that was something definitely true. Just a few minutes to relax and hearing that song and seeing myself on the shoreline, right where the waves were coming in, dancing. And for that time that I did that meditation, I was beautiful. Creative inspiration is not always warm and fuzzy. Like I showed you in the very first art journal, that it definitely is when the world is too heavy on your shoulders. This next art journal was done in 2016. And yes, it was just after the presidential election. And it has a lot to do with not the election so much as things that were said before the election and things that it brought to mind before the election. The things that are written, the get over it, women lie all the time. After grabbing your breast, they high-fived, proving it was a joke. You were just oversensitive at 14. Oh, come on, that was almost 40 years ago. You should have reported it when it happened, if it happened. Oh, please, how can it still hurt? You were afraid to tell? You're probably lying. It happened when you were a child. If you even remember it at 50, it shows you're weak. The bruise is healed. Just quit thinking about it. Every last one of those statements is about me, or it affected me. I heard them all over the place. I read them. I heard them on TV. I heard people using that as defense for all kinds of things. And I started thinking about the abuses that I had personally experienced in 50 years and realized that I was actually starting to feel sick. It was affecting my blood pressure. My doctor prescribed me a stronger blood pressure pill to be used as needed. Girls are supposed to just be quiet. Whether you're abused young, whether you're abused seriously, it was 13 or 14, but I was at a concert with my mother. She was not looking in the same direction as the 20-something guy who grabbed my breast so hard and then high-fived his buddy afterwards. But grabbed my breast so hard it didn't just hurt. I had his handprint bruised into my breast for about a week before it started going away. And I'd heard so much in 2016, and I've heard so much in many instances since then that actually are trying to convince me that was okay. For a young teenager to see a man's handprint bruised into her breast for a week, that's not okay. That's never okay. And anybody that would ever think that's okay it is the one that belongs in counseling, not the young woman who was accosted. The last art journal I'm going to show off, even though it says creativity heals right in the corner, is actually called Creative Block. you'll notice the woman representing me in the middle that's trapped in a circle where creative inspiration is out of reach. And if you look at all the things going on around, those are the things that would have given me inspiration one thing at a time. But when everything's happening all at once, and that's 2020, and it's not getting better at this point, it's getting worse and worse and worse. But when I did this in June, um, and there are lots of different pieces of uh, clip art, words I put together, things I use from different scrapbook kits. Um, I wrote and this is one of the ones that's very meaningful to me, up on the top, all lives matter. As long as any lives don't matter, no lives matter. Uh, the response to Black Lives Matter being people saying all lives matter is really counterintuitive because all lives don't matter. And the point of Black Lives Matter is to start to make all lives matter. They don't yet. That's not true. When you answer that with all lives matter, you're lying. The virus is still out there and it doesn't care if we're tired of fighting it. That was me also. Because it is not a jealousy thing because I'm still quarantined because of MS. It's the reality of the disease is not gone. That's why they start to open things up a little bit and the numbers go up again. Because the disease doesn't care if we're tired of fighting it. The last one, I will be totally honest, it is a completely political statement. Because the last one that I wrote on the bottom is leaders lead by example, children cower with defiance. That, I will admit, has everything to do with the current president of the United States doesn't wear a mask and didn't for a long time for anything. That's a child cowering in defiance, not a leader leading by example. The last bit today is going to be a poem that I wrote after watching an act on a late night TV show. And the singer was very, very dark skinned. And I noticed, and this isn't something that was a brand new hey type thing to me. It's something that I've always known about, but it just never occurred to me and never inspired me to write a poem. And this is the point where my creative block ended, where I noticed that this very dark-skinned man had very light insides of his hands. And I started thinking, I think that's pretty true, that the inside of our hands are very similar, even if the skin on the outside is not. And as I'm watching the show, the poem was already starting to brew in my head. And I started thinking about these hands, the inside of our hands, that they do so many things that better define us than the outside of the color of our skin. And it's when I said out loud that we use the inside of our hands to put together to pray. And I said it to the TV and started crying so hard that I actually had to download the song because I didn't hear the rest of it. So this is the poem that I wrote that broke my creative block as a result of watching a band on TV, and it's called Hands. Who are you? Who is your neighbor? Who is your coworker? Who is that stranger? How do we define ourselves? How do we define friends and family? How do we define everyone? How do we define anyone? Look at the back of your hands. Are they light, bronze, olive, dark? Is that you, your color, your race? What makes that shade you? Now flip your hands over. The color is incredibly close to the same color as the inside of every other hand. What do you do with that part of your hand? You put together the insides of your hands to pray or meditate when you think or plan. You hold the inside of your child's hand with the inside of your hand. You shake the inside of someone's hand with the inside of yours. A musician uses the inside of their hand to strike keys on a piano, touch the frets on a guitar, bass, violin, banjo, to hold a drumstick or a microphone. The earliest painting we do is with the inside of the hand. Talented older painters hold the brush inside their hands. Ceramics and pottery is shaped with the inside of hands. Crafters at home hold their supplies inside their hands. An athlete throws a ball, catches a ball, dribbles a ball, holds a bat, a racket, a golf club, a hockey stick, proudly clutches a trophy or medal with the inside of their hands. A cook, chef, baker uses the inside of their hands to hold the spoon that stirs food in a restaurant, to knead dough and put cookies or pizza in the oven at work or at home. An architect draws with the inside of their hands. A builder plans and schedules with the inside of their hands. A carpenter, electrician, construction worker use the inside of their hands to build. One last push and a doctor brings a baby into the world. A mother holds the newborn against her for the first time. A father caresses them both, all with the inside of their hands. On the inside, our blood is the same color. But on the outside, what parts of our body define us? The parts where we look more different, or the parts where we are more the same? I think our time has come to an end for this week. And I definitely hope that you will be back next Friday. We debut a new Chronicles of Nani at 8 o'clock every Friday morning. And you can subscribe and you get a warning to tell you, hey, don't miss it. Because when the subscriber number goes up, I feel happy. And yeah, that's part of the purpose of doing the vlog, is to make me feel happy. And I still feel really happy doing it. So I'm probably, at least for a while, until somebody kicks me off YouTube, I'm going to keep doing it. And I will look forward to seeing you, or you seeing me and talking to me in the comments next Friday. And until then, have a fantastic week.